Hey everybody, welcome to Ivancast podcast. You're listening to Ivancast podcast. Welcome to Ivancast podcast. Welcome to the podcast. Hey Daniel.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, you ready to start the podcast?
Yeah. Do you wanna?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna put my headphones on, I guess.
Yeah, it could be better.
One second.
All right.
Yeah. That's a little better.
Okay, awesome. Because I can hear you pretty well, so hopefully everything is gonna be fine. So it's okay now?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get it started. Hey everybody, you're listening to Ivancast podcast. We are on the air right now. This is going to be a heavy, groovy, deep, soulful episode because my guest today is Daniel Yount. He's the drummer and songwriter from the New York Afro-funk group Kaleta and Super Yamba band. Thank you, Daniel, for being part of the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Ivan. Thanks for having me.
When I heard for the first time your album, is it Medaho? Is it right? Am I pronouncing right?
Medaho.
Yeah, Medaho. Yeah. What's the meaning of it? Is there a meaning?
Yeah, there's a meaning. Medaho means big brother, or it also refers to like an elder. And you know, the fourth song on the record is titled Medaho, but and that song was about Kaleta's older brother who passed away pretty recently, like when we were working on the album.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Kind of like, yeah, it's too bad, but you know, his older brother played a big part in getting him into music, and you know, he had like introduced Kaleta to a lot of like, you know, funk music and soul and Afrobeat. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he was kind of like the one that hipped Kaleta to a lot of that stuff when he was young and just starting to play music. I think he introduced him to Fela and James Brown and, you know, just all sorts of stuff like that. So, you know, the record is definitely influenced by all the music that Kaleta's brother kind of introduced him to as a young kid. So we decided to kind of dedicate it to him for that reason.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's a beautiful album, and man, when I heard the first time, it hit me directly in the soul, you know. And then the production and the sound quality of the album is so insanely groovy and raw. You know, it's like this wonderful vintage sound. Like I thought it was recorded.
Yeah,
it recorded in the 70s.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, well, how are you? First of all, are you also isolating at home? Are you in quarantine right now?
Yes, I'm in quarantine. Just like we all should be, I guess.
Yeah. It's. I was wondering, how are musicians actually handling life during this COVID pandemic? Things have changed a lot, right?
Yeah, it's not good. It's been, I don't know, the cause of a lot of anxiety for sure. I mean, you know, all of our gigs for the most part have been canceled. Some of them are being rescheduled, but you know, everything is unclear, so we don't really know at this point like how it's going to work. So, you know, musicians are definitely struggling right now and out of a lot of work, and you know, we need support, but there's not, you know, there's a lot in place to kind of support us yet. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to talk about it a little bit later on the podcast. Let's begin with your inspiration to write and play Afrobeat songs. Like, who or what introduced you to music, to funk and soul?
Well, to funk and soul, I was first introduced to that kind of music by my dad. So I grew up on, you know, a lot of old music from the 60s and 70s, and a lot of blues, a lot of rock and roll, soul, funk. all that stuff. That's how I kind of got into it originally, and then, sort of got into African music later in life, and first heard Fela, I guess, when I was like in my early 20s, and soon after that, a bunch of us started working with. Many of the members of the band kind of got into African music through our friend Mamadou, who is a talking drum master, and he was living in North Carolina for a little while, which is where several of us are from, and taught us, how to play talking drum, and taught us the music of Senegal, and that, that's kind of how we sort of got into African music, and then started checking out, Afrobeat more, and all the stuff that you were talking about, the 70s kind of Afro funk, and so that's kind of how we got into that.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, for the people who are not really familiar with African Afrobeat music, can you sort of give us a definition of what it is, or what's the message behind Afrofunk and Afrobeat groups?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of hard to find, and I can't say that I was a part of the, when that music kind of got started in the 70s, obviously, because I wasn't born. But from what I can tell, it's a lot of like, musicians and bands from West Africa that were checking out music from the United States, whether it be James Brown or, Al Green and all that funk and soul, and then kind of like putting their own take on it, and using their traditional rhythms and just musical traditions to create something that's very funky and dancey and just amazing,
Definitely, there's a lot of energy there. So, how difficult is it to play? Yeah, no worries. On the drums, like how challenging it is, because I remember the drummer of my band, he would spend hours and hours playing those groups on beats on the drums, and he was telling me that it was pretty challenging. How did you get into that on the drums?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, all of the rhythms and polyrhythmic stuff going on is hard enough. And then on top of that, it's like if you're really trying to play Afrobeat and you're trying to really get the sound, you're probably checking out Tony Allen, who's the drummer from Fela. I know. He just has a really specific style that is just really different than a lot of other types of drumming that I came up learning and playing. So it's he has a different approach to it, the technique and just the way he improvises and the way he always stays true to the beat and the groove, and so it's definitely tough. I mean, it's not something that you just listen to one time and can play on the drums. Absolutely. I mean, you have to really kind of get in there and kind of relearn a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun, it's very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And
how long? And if you get obsessed, then it's a lot of fun.
How long have you been playing now, drums?
I started playing drums when I was like 11 years old, I think. So since I was a kid, I'm 33 now, so I've been playing for a while. Over 20 years now.
Over 20 years. Amazing. Cool. Let's talk about a minute about Kaleta. I just wanted to know, like, what is it like? What is the feeling like to be in a band together with such a personality? I mean, he has such an amazing long musical career, touring, recording with, the king of Afrobeat, Fela Kuti, I think with Lauryn Hill too, among other music legends. So I don't know. I would be nervous all the time. Like, how is it for you, this experience to have recorded the beautiful album? What is it to be with that man in front of the band?
Yeah, it's been an incredible experience working with Kaleta, and kind of a dream come true. You know,
Absolutely, yeah.
We were always like, you know, checking out music from Benin, where he was born, and also Nigeria, where he grew up, and you know, trying to write songs in that style. So like, to meet someone that can be the front man for that kind of music it's a dream come true for us. You know, we played for several years as like an instrumental band, and then he joined, and obviously that just took it to the next level. And you know, Kaleta, there's just so much that we've learned from him, and you know, he's been around. You know, he's had such a long career and played with so many of the greats, and you know, he's just an amazing front man. His singing and his guitar playing and his percussion playing, you know, the whole thing. It's just incredible to play behind someone who feels like, you know, he just feels like a true classic front man. That just embodied the band so much, and I don't know, it's been incredible. We've learned a lot from working with him.
Yeah, that must be a really cool experience, and I hope I can see you live sometime in the future. And when was the band formed? Like, how did you meet each other? How did you meet with Kaleta? How did it all start?
Well, we were actually just beginning to work on the album, which, you know, at the time was obviously not Medaho, but it was just sort of a collection of songs that we've been working on.
It's the first album, right? Medaho.
It was, yeah, it's our first full-length record. I mean, Super Yamba had put out a few singles before, but yeah, this was supposed to be like our first full-length record, and our original plan actually was to feature different singers on different songs, and have like guest vocalists, I guess.
Yeah.
And so in searching for different singers that could sing those styles, one of our friends in New York kind of put us in touch with Kaleta, and he was like a former member of Antibalas. I don't know if you're familiar with.
I know them. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Antibalas, and they're obviously like the Afrobeat heavyweights of New York City.
The masters of Afrobeat.
Have done so much for, total masters of the genre. But so some of those guys introduced us to Kaleta, and then when we got into the studio with him, he was able to, he was originally supposed to sing over 2 songs, and then 2 songs into 4, and then 6, and then and then pretty quickly he became a member of the band and started playing with us live, and
that's
the rest
really cool.
Is history, I guess.
Yeah, that's really cool. So everything worked out. There was I don't know, chemistry there would be probably the word.
Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty amazing to he just immediately started singing over our tunes, and it just sounded exactly like we'd pictured in our heads. Yeah,
cool. So it's time for music now. Let's hear one of the songs from the album Medaho, which is, in my opinion, the best Afrobeat album of 2019. You're going to listen to Jibidi, which is actually my favorite song of the album. So enjoy the music, stick around, and we will be back in a minute. So we're back. Daniel, are you there?
Yes, yeah, I've got.
Okay, cool. Um, I heard that you have played at the Apollo Theater. Can you tell me something about that experience to have played there?
Yeah, it was incredible. Playing at the Apollo Theater was obviously a milestone for the band, and also just a personal milestone as a musician. I mean, so much history there, and it was just a crazy experience. We played there in April of 2019, I guess,
April 2019.
for the Africa Now Festival. And it was amazing. It was a packed house. It was sold out. And just, I don't know, just being in that building and being on that stage and backstage and everything, it was just crazy. The whole thing was amazing. And it sounds great, as you would imagine.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's definitely a big moment for us.
Cool. Amazing. So let's talk a little bit about techie stuff. Like, I would like to know how do you create and record your unique sound? Like, is all your gear and instruments totally vintage? How was the whole recording and creative process of your songs, of your album?
Yeah, in the studio, we definitely try to achieve like a vintage sound, and there's a lot of things that go into that. We always record to tape for one thing, which definitely makes it sound old, and then also the gear, from old vintage keyboards to get that Afrobeat sound to thing. We try to, without overdoing it, we try to, approach it in like an old school way. And
so it's it's recorded all on tape.
See, I'm getting a call. Yeah, we record to tape in the studio, so that helps kind of get that old sound that I think you're talking about. So yeah, we take an old school approach. I mean, we try to record as live as possible, which is another thing that I think makes it sound old to people.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole, I mean, we definitely approach it intentionally, trying to make it sound old. And it's awesome when people listen to the record and they think it's from the 70s. That makes me happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Medaho, what a wonderful, soulful, funky, groovy Afrobeat album from last year. So we were talking at the beginning about the COVID-19 and the future of music. I mean, if we won't be able to go to concerts or festivals and have constantly, and we have to avoid contact with other human beings, how is music going to evolve in this scenario? Or what can we do to help musicians out there? What have you been thinking about it?
Yeah, I've definitely been thinking about it. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, I think we have to have faith that this is gonna pass, to be able to perform and tour again, because live music is nothing without a live audience, and you have to feed off of the energy of the crowd, obviously, and it's what makes it fun and beautiful, and we do it to make people dance. So if we can't make people dance, we won't be in business for very long. But I think it's going to come back, and I think we'll get through this. And but there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, try to support your favorite bands. Buy their music. Rather than just streaming it, perhaps. If they have music on Bandcamp, then that money, hopefully goes directly to the artist or to the labels that are in need right now. So, buy some merch, buy some vinyl. Just try to support the bands that you love for now.
Yeah, absolutely. You are signed to Ubiquity Records, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. They have awesome artists too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're amazing.
So, from your experience, Daniel, do you want to add something?
Well, I was gonna say that we have a upcoming release on Ubiquity. They're putting out a 45 of a remix that Bosk, who is like a Colombian-based producer and DJ, just remixed one of our songs, and so we have that coming out next month on vinyl. So look out for that. And
what's the name of the DJ?
It's been all. His name's Bosk, Bosq. Yeah, and the track is already available online. It's out digitally, but it'll be coming out soon on vinyl. So we're looking forward to that.
Cool. So we are heading towards the end of the podcast. I would like to know, before we end the show, from your experience, Daniel, what makes a good musician? What makes a band a great band? What's sort of your philosophy on life as a musician? Do you have any thoughts or ideas?
I mean, practice helps, being dedicated to your instrument and, and also being creative. And if you have a group of people that are talented and dedicated to their instrument and dedicated to being creative, then it's probably going to result in something awesome. For us, we're lucky to have a band that's made up of a lot of guys that have been playing music together for a long time.
Yeah.
And so that really helps us. And some of us have been playing music together since we were quite young.
Yeah.
So that's kind of unique. So it's just really special for us to kind of grow and evolve as musicians together. But that's obviously not the case for every band. But just having, just loving it and being dedicated to it and always trying to learn more and learn something new and change and, evolve your sound when necessary. I think those are all important things.
All right, let's call it a day. But before we end the show, may I ask you just a couple of random rapid-fire questions? It's just the way that I like to end the show sometimes. Just a few questions here and there, just for fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Daniel, have you ever thought about going vegan?
Sorry, what was the question?
Have you ever thought about going vegan? Or are you a vegan or vegetarian?
Vegan?
Yeah.
I am not. I went through a phase of life where I was vegetarian for a long time, or for a while. But it's definitely a good idea. Yeah. Something that we might all have to do at some point. So definitely open to it.
Is there something you like to do the old-fashioned way?
I like to play drums the old-fashioned way.
Yeah. Does music really sound better on vinyl?
Absolutely. Music definitely sounds better on vinyl. I think it's there's something about it sonically that I think is more pleasing to your ears, and I can listen to music on vinyl for much longer than I can listen to music digitally. I think the digital format kind of like wears you out. Wears the listener out eventually,
Do you have a style icon, a person you like the way it is, in terms of fashion or something like that?
Oh, that's a good question. Style icon for the band right now might be Zoe Kravtiz. Okay. Because we just, we were just featured in her latest show, High Fidelity, which is out on Hulu. Mm-hmm. And she's certainly a fashion icon. And we've been, paying attention to like the show and all the marketing they've been doing for the show lately. So that's been really cool. It's a great show. Gotta check it out.
Yeah, that's cool. Who deserves more?
Episode 7. Look out for us.
Yeah. Next question: who deserves more credit? Is there a person or artist that you think that deserves more credit?
Oh, like someone who's underrated, perhaps, or like a current musical artist, or what?
Yeah. Let's think about musical artists. Yes.
Right. Oh man, there's so many that are underrated. I mean, trying to think of stuff that I've been listening to lately.
Yeah.
I mean, Fela is pretty underrated, actually.
Yeah.
People are finally coming around to, checking out his music, and more people are aware of it. But for a long time, people didn't understand the long forms of his 20-minute songs that were never, radio friendly. So I definitely think of him as one of the all-time greats, who is pretty underrated overall.
Yeah, I think so. I think the same.
Just as prolific as he's prolific in the way that James Brown is, but a lot more people are aware of James Brown's music than Fela.
Yeah. All right, and final question. Does the internet take too much of your time? Do you consider yourself addicted to social media?
I think the internet probably takes too much of our time. I mean, I think most people are victim of that. I don't know that I'm addicted to social media, but it definitely feels like something that, as an artist, we kind of have to keep up with, and we have to engage people on social media, or else we wouldn't have as many fans. So it's something that we definitely have to spend time engaging with, whether we want to or not, or whether we're in the mood one day or not in the mood. I mean, sometimes you're in the mood for it and sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
For better or worse.
Daniel, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your music and for being part of this little podcast.
Oh, thank you, Ivan. Appreciate it. Thanks for
it was fun.
Our music, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. This episode will be available in about 2 weeks on pretty much every podcast application. And
cool.
Check it out, and check Kaleta and Super Yamba Band on. Can you tell us your contact details? Where people can find your music? Where people can buy your music?
Yeah, you can find our music pretty much everywhere online, on Spotify, searching for Kaleta and Super Yamba Band. We're also on Bandcamp, and we have a lot of music for sale there. Apple Music, Instagram, it's at Super Yamba. Facebook, it's at Super Yamba. SuperYambaBand.com. We're all over the web. YouTube is a good place. We've got a lot of live videos and concerts up there as well that you guys would probably enjoy.
Awesome, Daniel. So it was fun, and let's end the show with, which is your favorite song from your album?
Oh man, I have a lot of favorites. I mean, Mr. Diva is probably the favorite overall. That's kind of our hit. Yeah. So definitely check that one out, and check out the new remix of GBT from Bosk. Yeah. I think you guys will enjoy that one too.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. Have a good day over there. Bye-bye.
All right, you too.
Bye.